Now, what were we talking about again? Yep, remember that? Oh, iceberg, yeah. Oh, Henry, yep. Now I remember. We were in the middle of talking about analogical reasoning. And today, we're gonna dive even deeper. So I hope you have your note-taking stuff ready, because here we go. All right, some comparisons are literary, like that of Della's hair to a queen's jewels. Sometimes comparisons are embedded in an informational text. And sometimes the reader generates their own comparisons as a method of comprehending. Let's take a look at an example from an FDA article about veterinary health.
Diabetes is a metabolic disorder that results in high blood glucose levels. In type 2 diabetes, the most common form of diabetes in people, the body doesn't use insulin properly. Normally produced by beta cells inside the pancreas, insulin helps the body use or store the glucose or sugar from food for energy. In people and animals with diabetes, the glucose builds up in the blood instead of going into the cells. An immediate effect is that the cells are starved for energy. And over time, the high blood glucose levels may cause skin and eye complications, nerve damage, and other problems. Diabetes is also common in cats, and feline diabetes closely resembles type 2 diabetes in people in many ways. Because the authors specifically state that feline diabetes, or diabetes in cats, closely resembles the type 2 diabetes in humans, it can be reasonably inferred that cats with feline diabetes may experience skin and eye complications, nerve damage, and other complications experienced by humans. Furthermore, even though it's not explicitly stated, we can logically assume that the authors of this article would most likely agree that the study of type 2 diabetes in cats can have implications for the treatment of type 2 diabetes in humans.
Let's take a look now at the text from Patrick Henry's speech in the Virginia Convention, spoken on March 23, 1775, in which he famously advocates for the American Revolution.
We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth, and listen to the song of that siren till she transforms us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men, engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be of the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, the things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it.
Before we get into the analogical reasoning of Patrick Henry's speech, I want to talk about something else first. In the speech, he says, "Listen to the song of that siren." He's not talking about fire engines.
Sirens are mythical creatures who sang so sweetly that their songs lured sailors off course and toward their ultimate destruction. There's a reference to sirens in the Odyssey, an ancient Greek epic poem.
So, by using the analogy of the siren, what is Henry saying will happen if they listen to the loyalists that are trying to steer the colonists away from war?
He implies they will all be led to destruction. Also, by stating that wise men are struggling for liberty, what does he suggest, by contrast, about those who are not in agreement with him? He suggests his opponents are unwise and are ignoring the facts that he identifies as readily seen and heard.
Would your analogical reasoning lead you to believe that Patrick Henry was the type of kid who stood up to bullies? Probably so. Analogical reasoning helps us make connections within the text and beyond the text. Now remember, analogical reasoning involves making logical connections to see how one situation may be representative of another. Sometimes authors embed comparisons in the text. Other times, especially in informational writing, readers can deepen their own comprehension by making their own comparisons and related predictions. Let's test your analogical reasoning. Pause the video as you read the following passage and write down your answer for each question. All right, first question. The author of this report probably agrees with which of the following statements? Number 1, the presence of tour helicopters and private aircraft should increase in the area of the Tonto National Monument. Number 2, national monuments should receive regular maintenance in order to facilitate the use of tour helicopters and private aircraft. Or 3, the use of tour helicopters and private aircraft around national monuments should be carefully regulated in order to protect the integrity of these monuments. If you answered 3, you're right. It's reasonable to assume that the author would suggest strict controls over the use of aircraft around the monument. The report says that vibrations from these aircraft can easily damage and irreparably harm the monument. Therefore, the author probably wouldn't want to increase air traffic because that would increase the damage. Similarly, the author probably wouldn't find regular maintenance sufficient because words like destroy or irreparably harm imply that the damage is not fixable. Question 2. Based on the information in the report, the Tonto National Monument can probably be compared to which of these global points of interest? Number 1, the Washington Monument. Number 2, the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. Or number 3, the Museum of Modern Art. If you said number 2, you're correct. The selection suggests that the value of the Tonto National Monument is found in its age. Furthermore, the fact that these are cliff dwellings suggests that they're valuable in learning about ancient civilization. Neither the Washington Monument nor the Museum of Modern Art give a glimpse into ancient history. They're both products of the contemporary age. Don't let the word monument throw you off. Ancient pyramids, like the Tonto National Monument, are valued for their age as well as for the way they provide a glimpse into ancient civilization. To review, analogical reasoning involves making logical connections to understand how one situation may be representative of another. It's seeing connections between two objects or situations, like with the boy who cried wolf, or how Liz's art teacher compared her hidden talents to the layers of an onion. See how many times you can use your analogical reasoning skills as you read throughout your day. Now that you know what it is, I bet you'll be able to find a lot more places to use it. And remember to always be clever.